Today we'll be kicking off a brand new season of St. Louis Dragons football here on Madden 24. In the last episode, we went through the NFL draft. I'll leave a card at the top right of your screen in case you missed it because, well, obviously that was a pretty big deal. So we now have a lot of newfound optimism and excitement, which is largely surrounded by the addition of quarterback Puma Whitlock, who ended up falling to the number 2 overall pick. We had a lot of really good trade offers to potentially move back, but the way I saw it, I don't think we could have passed on this franchise quarterback, and ultimately we decided to select him along with a very talented rookie class and the addition of Joe Mixon via trade. So over the past couple of days, I have been doing some edits to the players already drafted because I had to redo the entire draft class because there were some glitches. Everything is saved, the players are on their correct teams and whatnot, but the schedule is different. We were originally going to play the Chargers on the road for week 1, now we're playing the Dolphins. We still have 2 primetime games. We play against the Bucks on Thursday night in week 7. I'm honestly kind of happy we had the Bucks on primetime. They're obviously the team who passed on Puma Whitlock. And then we had the 49ers in week 10 on Thursday Night Football. So other than the order that we play the games, everything is the same, despite the fact that I had to redo the entire draft. Here's a look at the undrafted free agents who we ended up signing. A couple guys who stand out include wide receiver Elias Danko. He was the number 1 target for the national champion LSU Tigers. I think Kevin Cabrera and Chuck Reed both could make impacts on the team this year. And then we also signed Terrence Steele, who's not an undrafted free agent. He's been in the league a little while with the Dallas Cowboys, but he's a pretty good right tackle. I know everybody's been worried about the offensive line, but it's really not that bad. We have 3 new pretty solid starters, including Terrence Steele. And I think Puma Whitlock is going to be in a good position to succeed, assuming he is the starting quarterback. He will battle with Mitchell Trubisky in the preseason. We don't want to hand Puma the job. We want to have an open competition for it. We're going to have our starters on the offensive line play, but we're going to really try to see what we've got with some of these young skill position guys, and then defensively as well. Not a ton of the veterans will be playing. A guy who I'm really curious to see how he performs is Owen Popov, a linebacker. We really did not touch the linebacking core in the offseason, and that's because we really like what we've got with Popov, who I think will have an opportunity to prove himself as a starter. So we're going to simulate through the preseason, and we end up going 1-2. We do have a positive point differential, though, through the 3 games. Largely headlined by a 27-0 shutout against the Broncos in week 2. We played a lot of the young guys the first couple of weeks, and then against the Jaguars, we played all of our starters. Basically a dress rehearsal game early on. So here's a look at the stats through the preseason. Overall, Puma Whitlock was pretty good. He was efficient. He completed 76% of his passes and had a passer rating of around 111. So overall, he was pretty good, and the other QBs weren't too bad themselves. The ground game was not as good. The only running back who had a semi-decent yards per carry was DeAndre Swift, who's still going to have a pretty big role in the offense despite the addition of Joe Mixon. The rookie wide receiver, Griffin Weaver III, performed quite well. I did hope for a little bit more out of Tykeem Keon Jr., the other rookie receiver. The offensive line seems like they held up pretty well. Only 5 sacks. 3 of those were with Puma Whitlock. And then defensively, Owen Popov leads the team in tackles. I like seeing that. Simeon Bonnet, the second rounder out of Tennessee, had a sack. And we forced a turnover in all 3 games. Rock Ya-Sin leading the way there. So now it's time for the not-so-fun part of the preseason, and that's cutting players. We have 75 guys on the roster. We got to send it down to 53. We're going to start with a quick trade, however. A guy who I would have cut is offensive tackle Walker Little. We just don't need him, but I think he could have some value, so we're going to exchange a 6th rounder into a 5th rounder with the Packers. It's not a ton of value, but it's better than nothing. So here's a look at the players we will be cutting or putting to the practice squad. Of our 22 cuts, we can put 12 guys on the practice squad. There were some surprise cuts. I would say Khalil Shakir was the most surprising. I wanted to put him on the practice squad, and he should be eligible because this is his 3rd year. But for whatever reason, he was not. I would love to bring Shakir back sometime this year, but right now we just don't really need him. There's quite a few guys who we drafted in the expansion draft who had roles last year who are being cut because the roster is a lot deeper after having our very first draft. We did cut a couple of the players we picked. Raekwon Tarpley, the offensive tackle, and Mamadou Diaby, the pass rusher, both did not make the final roster, and both are going to the practice squad. So already some of the guys even that we drafted are not making the team, which I think kind of shows where we are in terms of depth. So those are our 22 cuts. Now the 53 is set. This is what the practice squad will look like for now. There may be some movement based on if somebody gets plunked off of it, or if we can add somebody like Devontae Wyatt, former first rounder at the Packers. I think he could eventually play for us, but I want to have him in the building for a couple of weeks before we do that. And then Jalen Brooks will be released off the practice squad. That'll bring us into week 1. We've got the Miami Dolphins on the schedule on the road. It should be a fun one. As for the season goal, I think we're going to pick 7 wins. Obviously, I would love for us to win a lot more than 7 games. But realistically, I'm not sure if we have a playoff team quite yet, but we absolutely should be better than last year, which we won 4 games. Let's take a look at the lineup now. It is official. Puma Whitlock will be our starting quarterback for week 1. It's no surprise, but now it's official. Coming off a strong preseason. I think the other notable thing on offense would be Isaiah Likely being someone who's going to get a lot more inline tight end reps rather than being the fullback. And then defensively, I think the most notable spot here is free safety. Darnell Savage struggled at safety. I'd rather use him as an inside corner or a sub linebacker. So we're going to have DeMar Hamlin and undrafted rookie Chuck Reed switch off at free safety, and we're going to try to figure out who's better. I mentioned Owen Popo. He will, in fact, play a lot. Him and Darnell Savage will be 2 of our sub linebackers behind Devin White. And then we're going to give these rookies an opportunity to play as well. Griffin Weaver, for example, may be our wide receiver 4, but if he plays well, he very well could overtake someone like Greg Dortch on the depth chart. So let's now prepare for our week 1 matchup against the Miami Dolphins on the road. There's basically a hurricane coming towards Miami right now, so the weather conditions are not ideal. However, this game has not been canceled. It has not been moved. We're going to play through it. So Puma Whitlock's NFL debut basically is going to be in a hurricane. We're not going to put any more expectations on him. I want to see him play his game, and I'm confident in the player that he is. We drafted him 2nd overall for a reason. What are going to be the keys to beating this Miami Dolphin team? Because they can beat you in a lot of ways. They are by far the most explosive offense in the NFL with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Jonathan Taylor. I don't know how you stop those guys, especially Hill and Waddle vertically down the field. They have significantly more speed than all of our defensive backs, which could be a problem if the Dolphins are able to exploit that mismatch. The question with this Miami team going into the year is the long-term status of Tua Tagovailoa, who's currently playing on the 5th-year option. He's not under contract next year. He's been a pretty good player throughout his career. He led the Dolphins to the playoffs last year, but he's got to take a step up, and he's got the weapons to do it with Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, obviously the wide receiver duo with Waddle and Hill, and then defensively they've got some good pieces with Jalen Ramsey, Christian Wilkins, Javon Holland, Sko Ducks, Jalen Phillips, and their offensive line is not bad either, and it includes 2 rookies with Staten Humphries at right guard and the first-rounder Luke DiNardo at right tackle. The last order of business before we hop into our game is we've got to name team captains. We have 3 from last year who are back: Michael Gallup, Devin White, and JT Gray, our special teams captain. Now we need to name 3 more. So the first one will be Joe Mixon. I understand he may not be the greatest guy off the field, but on the field, he's a big-time leader. His teammates really like him. He's been a captain for a while with the Bengals, and he's going to keep that here. Rock Ya-Sin will now be a captain. He's one of our big leaders within the secondary, and I think he's really been beneficial in helping a lot of these young guys develop. As for our third and final new captain, it's going to be the rare rookie captain. QB1, Puma Whitlock, will be one of the 6 captains of the St. Louis Dragons, and with that, we can now officially hop into our Week 1 game, Puma Whitlock's NFL debut, and the start of season number 2 here in our St. Louis Dragons franchise as we face off against the Miami Dolphins in what appears to be a big hurricane. This is going to be the only game we play today, mainly because I spent a lot of time off camera fixing some of the glitches with the draft, but every episode after this is going to be the normal 2 to 3 games per. Cameron Dicker, the kicker, tees it off, and we are underway here in season number 2. The rookie, Oliver Tripp, will return it out of the end zone, and he will bring it to around the 25-yard line. And now we will get our first look at the Dolphins' offense, led by Tua Tagovailoa in his 5th season out of the University of Alabama. He's got a lot to prove as he's looking for a contract extension. I'm excited to see what the Dragons' defense looks like with the addition of guys such as rookie pass rusher Simeon Bonnet and Jordan Whitehead, who's going to hopefully help lead the secondary. On 2nd and inches, it's a play-action fake. Tua drops back and he connects with the All-Pro, Tyreek Hill, who brings it past the 50 for a Dolphins first down. I'm curious to see how the Dragons defense will at least attempt to cover the duo of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. 2nd and 10. Here's Tua Tagovailoa up the middle for his tight end, Kylen Granson, who gets the first down to the 36-yard line. It looks like him and Greedy Williams get into a little bit of a shoving match. It seems like Greedy was kind of the instigator there, but okay. From the 36-yard line now, another play-action fake. Tua, with time, sends it for the end zone, and it's caught for a touchdown! Jalen Waddle doing snow angels in the end zone, and the Dolphins strike first as we take our first look at the Dragons offense, led by the 2nd overall pick out of the Ohio State University, two-time national champion and two-time college football playoff MVP, Puma Whitlock, in his NFL debut. 2nd and 7 for the St. Louis offense. Puma drops back to throw it. His first NFL pass goes into the ground as he was hit while he threw it. Puma, one of the many talented rookies within this rookie class. The Dragons are hoping that a lot of these guys will be able to make a high impact, not just this year, but going forward. 3rd and 7 now. Puma rolls out to the left side under a lot of pressure. Sends it downfield. It's caught by Greg Dortch for a gain of 34. What a first completion in the NFL for Puma Whitlock, who was under a ton of pressure, rolls out to his left, and launches a dime. One of the best aspects of Puma Whitlock's game is his ability under pressure and out of structure to make big-time throws. 3rd and 9, Puma up the middle, it's dropped. Did Michael Thomas, trip on himself? What happened there? He was wide open, it was a good throw, and he just blatantly dropped the ball. So that'll bring out the field goal team. It's Cameron Dicker, the kicker, from 44. It is good. And the St. Louis Dragons are on the board here on their opening possession as it's 7-3. Here comes the Dolphins offense for drive number 2 on first down. Tua Tagovailoa sends it to the sideline. It's caught. What a catch by the tight end, Kylen Granson, who gets into another shoving match with a different Dragon player. 1st and 10. Tua with another play action. He will throw it away, and on the play, Tua Tagovailoa is hurt. One of the big issues with Tua so far in his young career is his injury history. Dating back to his college career at the University of Alabama, he is now questionable to return with what is officially a rib injury. P.J. Walker will come into the game to replace him as he misfires for Tyreek Hill on 3rd down. The Dolphins also have Ahmed Okado, a 25-year-old rookie quarterback out of Florida State University. So the Dragons get it back. It's a 3rd and 4. It looks like it's going to be a short screen. Puma dumps it off for DeAndre Swift, cutting to the left side for a gain of 9. Sometimes you just got to go short and let the receivers make plays for you, and that's exactly what the Dragons do there. Following play, from the 43, it's back in the hands of DeAndre Swift with blocks, and Swift gets the first down for a gain of 10. DeAndre Swift hit the open market last year, and the Dragons overpaid him on a big one-year contract to keep him around. It's a read option, and the Dolphins do not fall for it as Whitlock loses a yard. He's wrapped up by Jerome Baker. Big play for the Miami defense, and it's now a 3rd and 11 as the rain continues to pour down heavily. Puma up the middle. Good throw and catch by Greg Dortch to the 35. That was a nice grab by Dortch as he was hit as he caught it, but is able to hold on. 3rd and 1. Handoff for DeAndre Swift with plenty of room. He gets the first down into the red zone to the 16, and so far Swift looks like the better of these two Dragon running backs. Under 20 seconds to go in the quarter. Here's Puma up the middle for Swift, who gets it to the 4. Big drive for DeAndre Swift with 4 separate first downs. He looks really good. First play of the second quarter. It's a handoff for well-known woman respecter Joe Mixon. He's in for the first Dragons touchdown of the season, and the St. Louis Dragons take the lead. It's 10-7. The offense looks pretty good so far. It hasn't been perfect for Puma Whitlock, who's only 6 for 11, but the offense is moving nicely with him leading the charge. 3rd and 4, P.J. Walker still in the game over to Tyreek Hill, who does not get the first down. He is stopped shy of the yard to gain by multiple Dragon defenders. They'll get it back on offense as it is a 3rd and 1. Handoff to the right side for Sean Tucker, second-year pro out of Syracuse. He gets the first down, but there is a flag, and this one's going to be coming back. It's going to be a holding call against the Dragons, specifically Drew Dahlman, the starting center. So now that'll make it a 3rd and 10. Play action for Mixon. Here's Puma. Under pressure, downfield. It's dropped by Isaiah Likely. That was a risky throw. I feel like Ramsey could have made a play on the ball, but it was in Likely's hands, and he's unable to hold on. So the Dolphins get it back. Tua fakes the handoff. He's back in the game as he's already starting strong with a big throw here out to the 48-yard line for Cedric Wilson. This offense is just different with Tua compared to either of the backups, and things just seem to be moving a lot more smoother with him in the game. Jonathan Taylor with a big first down run to the 29. JT's been kind of quiet. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't really lean into him when PJ Walker was in the game. Not that it really matters anymore because Tua's back. 2nd and 3. Tua up the middle. It's a first down for Cedric Wilson again. And right now, Miami's offense looks pretty good. Less than 4 minutes to play here in the first half. The Dragons lead 10-7 as it's Jonathan Taylor breaks the tackle from Devin White, but he's still going backwards, and he's injured on the play. That is not good news for the Dolphins. Devin Achane, the youngster out of Texas A&M, will replace him, as on 3rd and 8, it's broken up in the secondary by one of the new team captains, Rock Ya-Sin, who had a strong season last year, and so that'll bring out the field goal team. This is Jake Verity, the veteran kicker, splits the uprights for the Dolphins, and we are tied at 10. Big drive here for Puma Whitlock in the offense as he doesn't necessarily have a 2-minute drill, but there's less than 3 minutes on the clock here in the first half. Jalen Ramsey's in the zone as well for what it's worth as it's a 1st and 10 from the 39. Puma looks to throw it, has time, he connects with Michael Thomas, who is going to break a tackle, and he's going to be out of bounds at the 42. And so that'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. It's been a really competitive game so far as we're tied at 10. Slow start for Puma Whitlock, but it really seems like he's figured some things out over these last couple of drives, and he looks a lot more comfortable than he did in the first quarter. Play action for Swift. Puma rolls out to his right under a lot of pressure, hoping to get something out of nothing, but he is sacked by Zach Seiler for a loss of 3. 2nd and 13 now, under a minute to go in the half. Puma up the middle. It's caught by Michael Thomas. And on the play, Terrence Steele, the right tackle, gets hurt. So the Dragons are going to use their first timeout. 3rd and 8 now from the 28. Puma looks to throw it. He has time. He sends it for the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown! Griffin Weaver III, the rookie out of TCU, with his first NFL reception. And it goes for a score. Puma Whitlock's first NFL passing touchdown ends up being Griffin Weaver's first NFL receiving touchdown. What a throw by Puma Whitlock, threading the needle perfectly. That was honestly A-plus coverage in the back end by Javon Holland. There's just a little bit of space for Weaver to make the catch and get both feet in bounds, and he does. Or so we think. The officials are going to take another look at the play here. I think it's really close, but it does look like Griffin Weaver drags both feet in bounds. The touchdown call will stand, and the St. Louis Dragons lead 17-10. What a throw and what a drive from Puma Whitlock. So the Dolphins offense gets it back. They've got all 3 timeouts, and they're absolutely in a position to where they can cut into this lead or maybe even tie the game up. On first down, Tua looking to start the drive strong, and that does not happen. Owen Popo with a big tackle for loss as Miami calls for first timeout. 2nd and 11. Tua Tagovailoa up the middle with a strike for Tyreek Hill, who gets it to the 46 as the Dolphins call timeout number 2. 33 seconds left on the clock. Miami down to 1 timeout. They're not too far away from field goal range, and this might get them there. Kylan Granson brings it to the 40. Miami holding on to that timeout, but look at the clock. There's less than 10 seconds. Tua will go short, and it's caught by Wilson, who's out of bounds at the 35 with 4 seconds left. The Dolphins have their timeout still in their back pocket, but that's not enough time to run another play. They're going to kick the field goal here with Jake Verity to end the first half. From 52, it is barely good, and the Dolphins tack on 3 points to wrap up what has been a really competitive first half. The St. Louis Dragons with the lead 17-13 in what has been a very exciting game so far. Puma Whitlock has really shown some good flashes over the last couple of drives. I know it's early, but he looks pretty good. Let's take a look at our first halftime report of the season. We'll start in New Orleans. Geno Smith broke his wrist in the preseason. Fourth-round rookie Bryson Bowen gets the start, and he looked really good, leading the Seattle Seahawks to a win. Bowen throws for 2 touchdowns and only 5 incompletions in his first NFL start. The Chargers lost a lot of pieces on offense. Austin Eckler to Houston, Mike Williams to Detroit. So far, no problem. The rookie tight end out of Boston College, Pilko Famaggio with the touchdown. Chargers currently lead 21-7. And in Carolina, we've got a Super Bowl 50 rematch. It's the Panthers on top 14-7 with a strong start to the first half from running back Miles Sanders. As we hop into the second half of our game, the Dragons are in a real position to win. We're up by 4. We start with the ball. Puma Whitlock's playing really well, especially when he goes downfield. He's actually been at his worst going short, and he has been better the farther down the field he's thrown it, which is an interesting trend. You can't count on that to continue, so he needs to do better in the short game. Defensively, I think we've held tough, but with Tua in the game, the Dolphins' offense is really scary, and it's been a night and day difference with Tua in at quarterback compared to P.J. Walker. So the Dragons open up with the ball here in the second half, looking to start off strong, as the first play is going to be run with Swift, cuts upfield and trips forward for a gain of 14. DeAndre Swift continues to have a really strong performance. 2nd and 3, Puma looks to throw it, and he is rocked. Cater Kahoo is in with the sack, as Darth Cater forces a loss of about 6, coming in out of the slot. He sends a rocking to Puma Whitlock. 3rd and 9, Puma rolls out to the right side with plenty of rushing room. Look at all this space. A huge run for Puma as he gets it all the way to the 25. What a play for the offense. Puma Whitlock showing his dynamic ability as a runner. On first down, Puma is still sacked. It's Cam Vick, the 6th-round rookie, getting some playing time for the Dolphins in his debut and making a big play. 3rd and 10. Here's Puma Whitlock. Rolls out to the right again, hoping to run for another first down, and he will slide shy. He knows he can't take hits. He's a very valuable asset to this team. Maybe he could have gotten the first down, but he's got to preserve his body. 4th and 3, Cameron Dicker makes the kick, and the Dragons extend their lead as it's now 20-13. 7-point game as the Dolphins get it back on offense. 2nd and 10. Tua looks to throw it, and he will launch a dot for Kylen Granson, the tight end, has had a great game. Devin White has not looked all that good in coverage, and White, of course, was this team's best player last year. But today he doesn't look as good. Maybe it's because he now has the big contract and he has less to play for. I hope that's not the reason. Tyreek Hill to the 44. He is hurt on the play. That's not good news. The Dolphins have already had Tua hurt, and while he's back in the game, Jonathan Taylor has been ruled out, and Tyreek Hill also will not return. That's 2 of their 3 key skill guys out for the game, and they're going to be heavily reliant not just on Jalen Waddle, but on these other guys, including Cedric Wilson, who gets the first down here, and Kylen Granson. Both Wilson and Granson have been really good today for the Dolphins. 3rd and 3, Tua looks to throw it. It's Jalen Waddle who dives forward. He does get the first down as the Dolphins continue to move the chains. That's just Waddle's 2nd catch of the game. The first one, of course, was that long touchdown in the first quarter. 2nd and 10, Tua up the middle, back into the hands of Jalen Waddle, and now it seems like Waddle's starting to get hot. He's got to continue to make plays, though, if this Dolphins offense wants to be successful. 2nd and 2. At the 2, goal line set. It's a handoff for Devon Achane, and he loses 2. Big play by the defense, spearheaded by Devin White. I was talking smack about him, and now he shows up and gets a big TFL. 3rd and 4 for the Dolphins at the 4. Tua looks to throw it. He's under some pressure. It's the rookie, Simeon Bonnet, with the hit, and he throws into the back of the end zone. The Dragons have not sent much pressure today. Bonnet has really been held in check by the rookie right tackle, Luke DiNardo, who is basically the blind side here for Tua with him being a lefty. Jake Farady's kick is good. He's now 3 for 3 on field goals. And on the play, Leo Chanel broke his ribs. That's a big deal for the Dragons as they don't have a ton of linebacking depth. So it's now 20-16. Here is Puma Whitlock. He's going to throw it well past the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. I pressed square because I wanted to slide with him. And that's going to obviously be an illegal forward pass. Now, the bigger deal on this play is that Puma Whitlock appears to be a little bit shaken up. So let's see what happened. What's the deal here with Puma Whitlock getting hurt? Because this could be very, very bad news. So as you can see, he rolls out to the right side. He throws it later than he should have, and it seems like he lands awkwardly on his shoulder. It appears that he's hurt his pec. He'll be questionable to return as he goes to the locker room, and Mitchell Trubisky comes into the game at quarterback. On 3rd and 9, he gets the first down conversion into the hands of Greg Dortch, who gets it to the 41, and now he's injured. The injury bug really coming alive as Puma's diagnosed with a pectoral strain. Thank goodness it's not a tear. That could be a season-ending injury if it was torn. The Dragons are going to try to be safe with him, but he is expected to return to the game. Start of the 4th quarter, nice first down throw from Trubisky into the hands of Michael Gallup, who gains 9. Puma Whitlock returns for the St. Louis Dragons as it's a 3rd and 8 from the 42-yard line. Puma looks to call an audible as he's going to drop back and throw it. Puma rolls out to the right again. He seems to be comfortable going right as he connects with Michael Thomas for the first down. He brings it to the 20. Good job there by the offense. And Puma Whitlock, who completed over 70% of his passes in the preseason, has had that carry over here. He's 14 of 20, which is 70%. He has Weaver open in the end zone, but the throw is just a little bit too far. Griffin Weaver ran a great route there, but the pass was offline. 3rd and 6 now for St. Louis. It's a handoff for DeAndre Swift, who does not get much. He's wrapped up by Jalen Ramsey. The reason why that the Dragons ran the ball there is because they wanted to go for it on 4th down if they don't get it, and they're still going to do that despite the fact that they're 6 yards out. Interesting strategy here by the offense. We'll see if it pays off. They're going to trust Puma to make a big throw. He has the rookie, Tykeem Keon Jr., but it's offline. So the Dolphins get the stop. They'll get the ball back only down by 4 as they get the stop in the red zone. Big opportunity here for Miami to potentially take the lead. Here's Tua on 1st down. His pass is nearly intercepted. Okudah had it in his hands, but it was broken up at the last minute by Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins have not scored a touchdown since we were 2 minutes into the 1st quarter. You got to give this Dragons defense a lot of credit, and they're going to continue to make plays as Owen Popo is in the backfield again. Devon Achane, 4 carries for 3 yards. He has really been held in check as the Dolphins aren't even trying to set the ground game. 3rd and 12, it's Achane on the screen, and he will gain only around 6. He's stopped on the play by Devin White and friends, and the defense gets the stop. Now it's time for the offense to come here, win this game, and put the Dragons at 1-0. On 1st down, it's a play-action fake. Puma looks to throw it, and it is an awful throw that is intercepted by David Long. Long on the return is wrapped up by Mixon at the 21. Puma Whitlock throws his first NFL interception. Puma was so good in college at keeping the ball out of harm's way. I don't know what happened there as Long is shaken up afterwards. So I thought Puma got hit originally, but that pocket was clean as hell. What was Puma Whitlock doing? That was a horrible throw. It looks like he never really set his feet and kind of forced the pass. I get it looks like Griffin Weaver is covered, but it looks like he was about to create a lot of separation and he would have been wide open. I don't think that was a bad read by Puma. It was just an awful throw that he just completely underthrew. The Dolphins will take advantage as Alec Ingold, the fullback, is in for the touchdown, and the Miami Dolphins take the lead with under 4 minutes to go in the game. So now the offense returns, trailing by 3. They thought they had this game in the bag, and now Puma Whitlock's got to come up big here late. On 3rd and 4, Puma's under a ton of pressure, and he will throw it away. He's trying to get something to work there, but it doesn't happen. So now it's 4th and 4. The Dragons are going to go for it. I would trust their defense, but I guess they want to see what Puma can do here as he goes short for Swift, who cannot hold on. It's ripped out by Cam Smith. Puma's last 6 passes have been incomplete. Before that, he only had his 6 incompletions in the entire game. So the Dolphins have it back. It's Devon Achane with a quick first down. And the Dragons are already going to be calling their timeouts with under 3 minutes left in the game. Following play from the 19, back to Achane with blocks, breaks a tackle, he's gone! 19-yard touchdown run for Devon Achane, and the Miami Dolphins lead it by 10. It's now 30-20, and now the Dragons are in need of a miracle. 3rd and 1, Whitlock incomplete, could have been intercepted as he kind of forces it there, and Kader Kahu nearly catches it. 4th and 1, the Dragons are going to go for it. It's a handoff for Joe Mixon, who gets the first down to the left side, and he is out of bounds with a good run. Puma Whitlock has really struggled here in this fourth quarter. He is 1 of 9 passing as he goes up the middle for Isaiah Likely after the 2-minute warning. That'll keep the chains moving. Michael Thomas drops a wide open ball. I think he's dropped 3 now today. It has been a rough day in the office for Michael Thomas. If he doesn't get his act together, he's going on the bench. 2nd and 10. Puma under a lot of pressure with an absolute dime for Griffin Weaver III, who gets it to the 17. What a throw by Puma Whitlock, who obviously has struggled in this quarter, but that was an awesome pass. On 1st down, it's Griffin Weaver again, who's rocked by Cam Smith, but he holds on. From the 11, Whitlock up the middle. Another 1st down, it's Michael Thomas who gets it to the 3. Puma's looked a lot more comfortable on this drive as he connects in the end zone with Michael Gallup. Really good possession from Puma Whitlock. I get he's been really bad here in the fourth quarter, but that was really encouraging. He made some big throws. He wasn't afraid to trust his receivers, and now it's time for an onside kick with a minute to go, down by 3. The kick from Dicker is going to be first touched by Joseph Osai and eventually recovered by the Dolphins. It's going to be an illegal touching on Joseph Osai. Not that it really matters because, well, the Dolphins got the ball back. Now, the game is not entirely over. The Dragons still have 2 timeouts, but they are basically hoping for a miracle at this point if they want any chance to win the game. 1st down, it's a handoff for Devon Achane. Good start. He gets nothing. The Dragons call their 2nd timeout. They still got 1 left. 2nd and 10 with 51 seconds and a timeout to go. It's going to be another handoff for Achane with room to the right side, tackled by Damar Hamlin. Devin White is hurt on the play, and so the Dragons, by default, will use their last timeout. Interesting strategy on 3rd and 6. The Dolphins are going to kneel the ball. I don't see why you don't just try to run it and get the 1st down because the game clock is ahead of the play clock, and so the Dolphins are going to kick here. 50-yard try for Jake Verity. Not a guarantee he makes this, and if he doesn't, the Dolphins are going to give St. Louis good field position. So he does make the kick with 5 seconds to go. It's a 6-point game. Now a field goal for the Dragons is out of the question. They need a Hail Mary. That's their only hope at this point with 5 seconds. For the game, Puma Whitlock heaves it up, and it is going to be tipped and incomplete. But, hold on, we have a flag. Defensive pass interference against the Miami Dolphins. It's called on Brandon Jones, and the Dragons are going to get to run 1 play from the 25-yard line, which is the spot of the foul. So the Dragons have a real shot to score here. For the game, Puma looks to throw it, and he cannot get it out. Lonnie Barlow, an undrafted rookie with the sack, and the Miami Dolphins win it at the buzzer. 33-27, your final. What an ending to this game. Oh my goodness, an all-out thriller here in week 1, but unfortunately the Dragons lose their first game of the season. Obviously, the big storyline was the debut of Puma Whitlock. There was a lot of good and there was a lot of bad. I will say I was pretty impressed, honestly, by the defense. I really feel like, all things considered, we held the Dolphins in check. They had the early touchdown 2 minutes into the game. They didn't get back into the end zone until the fourth quarter where they had 2 touchdowns, but both of those drives, they started at like the 25-yard line. I really feel like our defense was steady here. Not to say Tua had a bad game, but I was honestly impressed defensively. As for Puma Whitlock, he started slow, then he really caught fire at the end of the first half. He looked great, and I feel like the turning point is when he got hurt. He strained his pec, and he just did not look anywhere near as good. I will say, though, that last drive with the touchdown was really solid. Both teams ran the ball fairly well. I was impressed with Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift. Michael Thomas was our leading receiver, but don't get it twisted. He was not good. 3 drops, and they were all like wide open drops. He's got to clean it up. Other than that, I think Greg Dortch played well, and I was impressed with Griffin Weaver III as well. Maybe both of those guys end up starting over Michael Gallup and Michael Thomas if those guys don't step it up. We also stopped Waddle and Hill for the most part. Jalen Waddle only had 3 catches. Hill only had 4, albeit he got hurt. And then I feel like the offensive line was fine. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And then defensively, this game felt really different from last year. Last year on defense, we got our fair share of sacks, and we got plenty of turnovers, but the defense just was never consistent. And this game, it was the total opposite. No sacks, no turnovers, but I feel like the defense was really steady, and I feel like overall, they did a pretty good job, and they're not the reason why we ended up losing this game. So, despite the fact that we lost, and despite the fact that Puma Whitlock had some pretty bad moments, and you could argue he's the reason why we lost, I still feel like there was a lot to like from him, and overall from the team, I feel pretty impressed. We stood toe-to-toe in a hurricane with one of the better teams in the league. So overall, I feel fairly good about how we played. Now, unfortunately, Leo Chanel broke his ribs. We already lacked depth at linebacker to begin with. That means guys like Owen Popo are going to have to step up even more. Jelani Tavai, Damone Clark, those two as well. So let's take a look at the Week 1 results. There were quite a few teams who obviously revamped their rosters. The Texans were one of them. They beat the Eagles. The Titans and Lions, I feel like, were the other two biggest changing teams. They both really struggled. The Lions lose to the Niners on Monday Night Football, as the Jaguars, Bills, and defending champion Chiefs are your other primetime winners. Players of the Week, CeeDee Lamb had one of the better receiver games I've seen in a while. Well-known woman respecter Deshaun Watson, Brian Burns, and Carl Lawson, who had 4 sacks for the Jaguars on Sunday Night Football against rookie quarterback Deontay Harris and the Vikings. So next episode, we're going to do either 2 or 3 games. I haven't decided yet. We've got our home opener against the Washington Commanders. We head to LA against the Rams. And if I do 3 games, we're going to take a look at another first-round quarterback, Deontay Harris out of the University of Florida, leading the Vikings. That'll wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.